Hey Harmonizers, some exciting news. These are some new Mustangs and two of them are going to be my little fellas that I'm going to train for the Georgia and Maryland tip challenges, which are Mustang training challenges where you get a Mustang and you have roughly 100 days or so until the competition to train. And so this is a group of Mustangs that's in Tennessee, and this is them in the holding facility. You can see little Bay there was not super stoked about coming out. So when we as Canadians get Mustangs, we always have to get what are called sale authority Mustangs. So these are Mustangs that have been offered to Americans at least 3 times as part of challenges or auctions or things like that, and then were not chosen. So sometimes people say, oh Lindsay, you get the easy ones and stuff like that, and it's like, actually I get the horses that Americans chose not to take for at least 3 times before I even get offered them. And I don't get to see them before we pick. We just pick off of a picture. So I had no idea what I was getting, and then I got this footage of them so we can kind of see them a little bit more. And what I want you to kind of notice as we're observing them going back and forth is notice which of the horses are more confident and which of the ones are less confident, and kind of who's flighty. So obviously that Bay horse, Bay is the one with the black mane and black tail. That one is more flighty. He's the one that tried to escape through the hay feeder area. And this is, nobody's actually in the pen with him. This is just some footage taken from standing on the outside. And my understanding is that these horses were rounded up relatively recently, like only a couple months ago. So they're all going to be pretty flighty and new and not really used to people. And they're also Silver King HMA, so that's the area they were rounded up from, is Silver King, which I'm told is horses that are known for being a little bit more flighty. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes. So this is kind of interesting because they're all kind of looking at the camera person there, and the one on the far right is the Bay, the most skittish one, and then there's the one with the big white face who's kind of looking away, and then the bravest of the group seems to be this chestnut guy that just has the tiny little bit of white on his nose, and so that one's actually one of my Mustangs. And then the one on the far left that has the star, that's also one of my Mustangs, and he seems to be a little bit shy, but he's also, you know, not afraid to look at the camera person here. So that's doing really, really well. Whereas the other two kind of seem to be hiding behind that chestnut almost. So this was just interesting. You know, I wanted to get some footage of the horses before they came to my place. And all 4 horses are actually coming to Canada as part of a trip. And a different Mustang tip challenge chose one of the other ones, and then a different girl chose one of the Bay horse. And again, we just chose off of pictures. We had no idea what their personalities were going to be like. We had no idea anything really about them other than we get told their age, what HMA they're from, and I believe my boys are both 4 years old, but I'll have to double check on that for you guys. So you can see the little guy on the left there, he's having a little poop, which could be that he's quite nervous. And they stood for quite a while there, and then they go off kind of moving again. And you can see it's the kind of more solid chestnut guy that's kind of leading the pack almost as to where to go. So he's definitely seeming like the leader. He's kind of weaving his way through, going where he wants to go. He's kind of making the changes of direction. And the other guys seem to be following for the most part. Those two made a little change of direction. Oh, and there he gave a little bit of a kick out to say, don't get up under my bum. So it's always so interesting to watch the horses and just see what their natural behavior is like, how brave they are. You can see the chestnut there is being bossy again. So he's kind of like, hey, like, don't cross my drive lines. There again, he's kind of like bossing them around a little bit. So he's going to be a little bit more dominant. He seems like he's going to be more brave for me to work with. But there, see, he gave the other horse a little kick there. And he's not being really mean. He's just kind of saying, hey, like, this is my space. So I'll just have to be mindful of that he does have a little bit of a kick tendency, but not like he's not going after the horses for no reason. He's just kind of more bossing them around and being protective of his space. So it's really interesting to see how they how they all interact. There, the little guy with the star was on the side closest to the camera person. And you can really see that, you know, when they're nervous, they really do move kind of like a school of fish, where they're all just kind of moving together and moving around the pen, making those changes of direction. But it's interesting to see who the braver ones are that will look at me. There you can see the chestnut gives that other horse a big kick again. So he's definitely the dominant guy, trying to tell people what to do, or tell the other horses what to do and what not to do. Here's a little walk around the pen to just see some of the other Mustangs and what's going on. So there, the 4 boys. Here's another little bay horse. And the horses that are coming to Canada, you can see, are kind of, I think, the more flighty of the horses. This little bay one here seems a bit worried as well. It's kind of alert and staying off to the side, staying away a little bit. And then there's some other horses here that just seem like, whatever. Like, see these guys, like, they didn't even really move. They just kind of like, oh, okay, there's a person here filming us, whatever, no big deal. So chances are these horses have probably been in what's called holding for a little bit longer. So they're used to seeing people a little bit more frequently. These guys too, like, you see the one doesn't even bother to stop eating or like turn to look at us or anything. So those are horses that are definitely seemingly more comfortable around people. So if a horse has been in holding for a little bit longer, they tend to be more quiet because they're used to seeing people. Sometimes these guys are younger horses. I think they're babies and they're like, whatever, like, we're not even going to look at you. So here are the boys now going to get rounded up to go on the trailer. So it's really a series of chutes and kind of first getting them out of their pen into the main aisleway. And these are all, I think they're nearly 7-foot high panels. They're really tall panels. They're not your standard round pen panels because the horses do sometimes try to jump or do interesting things. And so then here they're getting run up the chute behind the next set of gates, so that way they can get closer to where the trailer is. I actually really like this setup. It's kind of cool with the center aisle, and then the gates get shut as the horses kind of go up to the different spots. So here the horses are kind of being run up through the chute, and then once they kind of get up through this area here, another series of gates is going to shut behind them. And then the actual trailer is undercover in this undercover area, which is kind of cool. So if it's raining or anything, you don't have to worry about it being slick. And so you can see they kind of get funneled through this more narrow chute where it becomes more of a single file line, which makes it a little safer to go into the trailer. So they get rounded up here and they kind of stall because they're like, I don't really want to go into the trailer. So here's a little look at them hopping onto the trailer. They're all going on there, figuring themselves out. A little bit of a hesitation there. And then once they're on, this is them inside the trailer. Little chestnut guy actually curious to have a little sniff there. And they're all just kind of hanging out. So they've got lots of space in there. They kind of get to figure out how they want to stand inside. And that was part of the piece of them being turned out together first to make sure that they would all get along. You see the whites of the bay's eyes there. He's like, whoa, somebody's looking at me. And so this is the first one being unloaded. And we got real lucky here because the horse that jumps off first is the lady's horse that she had chosen. And so the horse is going to jump off, and we got super lucky. And then she's basically going to shut the door right behind because it's like, hey, wait, that's the correct horse. So we didn't actually have to do any Mustang sorting. That was it. That was pretty simple and easy. And then here's at my place the other 3 jumping off. And the bay horse is not my horse, but it came to my farm to then be picked up from here to be carted off. So we'll just show you the footage of them all kind of coming out of the trailer, and then in a separate video I'll show you guys sorting the bay Mustang out, which was great fun and interesting times. And then I'll show you guys how the little chestnuts are doing So here they're just really taking their time to come out of the trailer, as you can see. And I was going to crop this footage, but I thought I wanted you to see how it's better to just be patient, because they already kind of scramble off the trailer. So you don't really want to rush them off. They already come off when they're ready. And then they come out and they're a little bit worried and they're kind of confused about life. But they've got a fair bit of space in there. They've got water. They've got a big round bale that they can enjoy. And so we just let them come out and just breathe for a little bit. And then afterwards, we'll be sorting out that bay horse to get him ready. And you'll see we've got actually round pen panels set up on the outside of the wooden fenced pen, because when I saw the footage of the bay horse trying to go through the feeder, I was like, okay, let's set up an extra set of panels around our pen just in case the wood breaks or something like that. So these are the new Mustangs. They're going to end up needing names, but we'll have to get to know them a little bit more first, so stay tuned.